Thank you for joining us for Couch and Court Issues. My name is Carla, therapist, and I'm here with Mark, my husband and family law attorney.
I'm glad to be here through serving others with our time and talent.
Last time we had a conversation on the impact bullying have on children and the roles of schools, law enforcement, and most importantly, what community can do to prevent bullying. Today, I want to invite you to stay tuned as we continue our discussion on children being involved in bullying and talking about adults bullying, something we hear very little about, but it's very much prevalent. Mark, would you please continue with our discussion by sharing what we do as parents to help prevent bullying?
You know, Carla, parents have the primary responsibility for training, instilling, and modeling values in their children, which includes respect for other people, teaching their children to live by the golden rule. Bullying at its core is an expression of disrespect. I encourage parents to teach their children to respect other people, regardless of their race or appearance. At home, parents should let their children know abusive speech or actions towards anyone, including siblings, is unacceptable. Parents should impress on their children that they are not to participate in bullying, and if they witness it, they should report bullying to an adult, such as a teacher or parent. When possible, children should understand that coming to the assistance of someone who is bullying is courageous. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was right when he said, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." Carla, what can youth groups do to help prevent bullying?
You know, I like that, but the silence of our friends. Last week when we were talking about bullying, we talked a lot about the bystander. And a lot of us and our kids are the bystanders. There's a wonderful way we can reduce being bystanders. We have a wonderful opportunity by encouraging our kids to be accepting and welcoming to each child. We can encourage kids to look out for and support others who they see as different from themselves. Unfortunately, Mark, inclusion does not happen automatically. It's a learned behavior. Let's encourage our young person to take the lead in welcoming their peers. In doing so, children can feel a sense of empowerment, which will promote not only leadership, but build self-esteem. Let no one despise you for your youth, but set an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity.
Carla, let me ask you this. At what age should we begin to teach our children about bullying?
That's a really good question, Mark. You know, when babies are born, they do not come with the radar telling them how far can they go with their behavior. They first learn limits from their parents. So parents are kids' first learning tool. And toddlers may resort to hitting or kicking their parents and siblings when they are angry. No worries. It's a great opportunity for a teachable moment. It's a time for boundary setting. I would recommend that you be really direct. When toddlers hit, show disapproval immediately. Tell them no firmly. Hold the child's hand gently and look into the child's eyes as you say no. It's really important that you be consistent because toddlers will be confused if one day they are disciplined for their behavior and the next time they get away with it.
Carla, that's excellent advice. Let me ask you this question. When does bullying start with children?
When they begin to speak. No, really. I want to talk about girls between the ages of 4 to 7 years old because we often talk about bullying as one thing. We talk about preteens and youth, as I did before, and then we also somehow think about boys, but girls can be bullies too. We all fall short. We all can have those characteristics to do that, and we can all grow and change. But there are some girls between the ages of 4 and 7 that believe that it's socially beneficial to tell lies, secrets, or rumors about their peers. They also exclude peers and give them the silent treatment. I would encourage you to be supportive adults, and we can find out the whole story. Find out if the child is just the ringleader leader, or does she feel she has to join in with whatever friends are doing to keep friendships intact? Or is she just going along with the crowd, sort of the whole bystander concept that we talked about? It's a lot we can do. That's what's so great about information. Once we have insight, that leads to change. And one thing we can do is we can be a role model. If you gossip about a teacher, a youth leader, coach, or even a family member in front of your child, she learns to do the same. Let her know that this is unacceptable behavior for everyone, including yourself. It may be socially acceptable in the second grade to isolate another girl, But show your daughter why it is wrong, and always let her know that you are available to listen to her, to talk with her, and when she feels aggressive towards another person or pressured to join in, assure her that you will work together to find a more positive way to handle solutions. Mark, with all that being said, how can parents respond to bullying?
Carla, first, if you suspect your child is being bullied, take the situation seriously. Remember, bullying is not a rite of passage. Second, encourage your child to share his or her concerns. Remain calm, listen in a loving manner, and support your child's feelings. Remind your child that he or she isn't to be blamed for being bullied. And remember, learn as much as you can about the situation. Ask your child to describe how and when the bullying happens and who is involved. Ask if other children or adults have witnessed any bullying incidents. Obtain as much detail as possible because it may be needed by the school, law enforcement, or the court. Carla, what other ways can parents respond to bullying?
It's important to talk to your child's teacher, the school counselors, and the school principal if your child has been physically attacked or threatened with harm. Talk to school officials immediately to determine if the police should be involved. And then come alongside as a supportive, concerned parent, looking for solutions as opposed to encouraging further conflict. Depending on your child's age and their character and their maturity, to discuss the plan before actions are taken. This can allow the child to feel less of a victim. It can allow them to feel heard and know that their input counts. If you do not have a relationship with the bully's parents, or if you do not believe you're calm enough to or incapable of handling the interaction in a healthy manner, always remember safety first. Don't contact the bully parents yourself, but let the school contact the bully parents and require a meeting. I believe in all of this, there's an opportunity for growth and change. So no person is a bully, but that's the behavior that they distribute, and it's not okay. And we can teach kids that it's not okay. We can allow for opportunities for them to grow and change. And most importantly, we can give them those opportunities. So for them to be able to make amends, I think it's great. Another thing I want to talk about, encouraging involvement in activities that can raise self-esteem, such as church youth groups, sports, music, or art. Promoting building friendships through developing social skills. Self-esteem boosters are ways that kids can reduce the chance of them being bullied. Mission trips and community service projects give kids, and giving back are all self-esteem boosters in a way that kids can increase their self-esteem, therefore reducing being involved in bullying. Mark, can you talk to us about what parents can do and how they can respond to bullying?
No, Carla, unfortunately, there's no magic wand to use to bully-proof a child. But a parent can take an active role in protecting their child against all types of bullying. Parents can model compassionate, respectful relationships from the time your child is small. The best way to keep children from being bullied is to make sure they have high self-esteem and strong relationships at home. Also, stay connected to your child through thick and thin. Lonely kids are more likely to be bullied and let themselves be bullied. Keep those lines of communication open no matter what. Model confident behavior with other people. Kids learn from watching us. Speak up. Don't put yourself or your child down. Don't let yourself be pushed around. Give your child words to stick up for himself early on, like, "Hey, it's my turn." Remember, teach your child basic bully avoidance. Bullies operate where adults aren't present. So your child should avoid unsupervised hallways and bathrooms. Sitting towards the front of the school bus, standing in the front of the line, sitting in the front of the classroom or cafeteria are all good strategies for bully avoidance. Carla, will bullying stop when a child becomes an adult?
Mark, unfortunately, no. Just because someone has time and age doesn't necessarily come with wisdom. Adults, those same kids, can turn into adults and they can be bullies. Also, adults can be bullied by other adults, and even more disturbing, they can be bullied by children. I just want you to remember about the 68-year-old bus monitor from New York who was bullied by a group of middle school students. It made the national news. It was pretty sad to watch. That being said, What is adult bullying? Let's get on the same page so we can have a definition of adult bullying and see how adult bullying is similar to bullying with children and how it's different. So Mark, could you please give me that definition?
Carla, adult bullying involves hurtful or hostile actions which are intended to mistreat or control another person. That may be verbal or nonverbal, that decreases a person's self-worth. The goal of adult bullying is to gain power over the person and make himself or herself the dominant adult. They try to humiliate victims and show who the boss. Carla, let me ask you this question. Where does adult bullying happen?
Now, Mark, adult bullying is where adults spend most of their time. Adult bullying usually happens in two areas. The first is the family, where family members bully other family members. It can take the form of a spouse bullying a spouse, a parent bullying a child, or a sibling bullying each other. The second area, where we spend most of our time, fortunately enough, blessed to have a job, is the workplace. Workplace bullying is repeated mistreatment, sabotage by others that prevent work from getting done, verbal abuse, threatening conduct, intimidation, and humiliation. Mark, how would you deal with adult bullying in the family?
Carla, first, I would say stopping adult bullying in a family is a priority because it can affect the mental and physical health of the entire family. Unresolved conflicts can lead to threatening behavior and even domestic violence. Adult bullying in a family can be directed at a spouse, the parents, the children, or a combination of people in the family. If the bullying has been directed towards you, remember, this is not your fault and you should not blame yourself. Adults are responsible for how they choose to treat you. By choosing not to respond to the bullying in an angry manner, you send a message that you are not a threat toward the person. Often the bully reacts in an angry manner since he regards other people as a threat to him. Carla, what other advice would you give to those who are experiencing adult bullying in the family?
As we talk about the family, I think of our home we have, Mark. My sister-in-law gave us this gift, and it hangs on the wall. We just love it. We had it reframed, and we just love it. And as soon as you walk in the door, it says, Christ is the head of the home, an unseen guest in every room. God bless all who enter. Boy, when I read that, it can just help me keep my attitude and my word in check. There was a time families had a shield which represented their name and what they stood for. Schools and companies and other organizations, they have mission statements or mottos to go by. I sort of see that statement as our family motto, our mission statement. I think it's a great idea for the family to work together and have a mission statement or a motto, which includes a statement on how to treat each other with respect and dignity. That encourages bullying. I think it would be great for the family to work together and come up with that, and even if they all sign their names saying that they agree to that. I remember growing up with my brothers and sisters, when we would leave the house to go to school, my mom used to say, remember who you represent, Christ and family. And basically, when we go out there, when people see us, they see Jesus Christ. And do we want to represent him that way? And they also see our family. And do we want to represent our family and our brothers and sisters in that way or not? So it was just always a good reminder. And when you asked me that question, that came to mind. Another thing that other organizations have, and be great for the family to have, and a lot of families do this already, is a family meeting. Family meetings is a sensitive time because it's a time where so much love and passion is in the family, and sometimes when we display that, it can come across negatively. I think in a family meeting, it's really important to use assertive responses, a clear, calm voice, well-chosen words, and assertive body language calms down a situation. When talking to family members or when anyone, especially when you're talking about things that's really emotional and passionate, how much we love our family, I would encourage using I messages. I feel this way. This is what's going on with me. Share how it feels or what's happening from your perspective. Talk from how you're going. No one can really argue with you about how you feel. And then people are able to hear you because it doesn't feel like you're attacking them. There are two words that I call fighting words not to ever use. And that's never or always. It makes people block out what's being heard. And it's pretty hurtful. And nothing's never or always when it comes to human behavior. Looking at human behavior, assertiveness is so important. A person must be believable to be assertive. If you sell me something or if you tell me something and if you mean it, then I'll believe it. The other person will buy it, or they'll believe it, or they'll believe you mean it. And that's really important when it comes to interacting with family members and with people you love and with people who bully. You know, another thing we should do no matter what is schedule time off. It's a great way to teach our kids. It's okay to take a time out, to take time for themselves, to give them a chance to be centered and to be calm. And it's okay as adults to take time out. Not is it okay, but it's necessary. And in doing so, it reduces the fact that you're being bullied because people can tell that you're coming off with that energy. Mark, are there signs that you may be the victim of adult bullying?
Yes, there are, Carla. First one could be repeated verbal abuse. If you're being constantly yelled at or belittled, you're being bullied. It seems obvious, but people will continue to allow this form of intimidation. This is a sensitive issue that can often escalate into domestic violence. It could be you're constantly the butt of the joke. It doesn't matter if it's labeled a joke. If it hurts your feelings, it isn't okay. Remind the person that you can appreciate humor, but they are starting to hurt your feelings. Or it could be gossip and rumors. If it feels like you're in high school, that's a bad sign. This happens frequently on the internet social media sites. The best way to combat this type of bullying is to refuse to participate. Carla, we talked a little bit about the victim of adult bullying. The consequence for adult bullying can cause serious psychological harm to adults, particularly when the adult bully is a family member or employer. Bullying has been linked to long-term emotional effects, ranging from depression to post-traumatic stress disorder. Victims may experience loss of sleep, loss of self-confidence, anxiety, high stress levels, and panic attacks. The victim may withdraw from others, living in a self-imposed isolation, or others may withdraw from the victim out of fear of becoming the bully's next target. This victim may miss work often to avoid the bully. Some victims lose their ability to form meaningful relationships. Some become violent themselves, and others turn to alcohol, drugs, or even suicide as a way out. Carlo, how would you encourage a person to seek professional help?
Yes, with all that you just named, definitely would encourage a person to seek professional help. But first things first, during your quiet time, think about what is your desired outcome and the next steps that will bring you closer to your objective. If it is safe and in your best interest to do so, go talk to the other person. But if not, go to your EAP program. Talk it over to a safe, confidential person as a way to get to some resolutions. And most importantly, if needed, get help. I would like to thank you again for joining us for Couch and Court Issues. Hope you join us again.
This week's edition of Couch and Court Issues, the information provided by Carla and Mark is not intended to establish a therapist-client or attorney-client relationship. If you have any questions regarding you or your family's legal interests, please call attorney Mark Ambrose at 916-492-9170. This program is sponsored by the law offices of Mark Ambrose.